if we look down and we don't have our view up and we're paying attention to the beauty of the sky or the amazing colors of the trees, or even where life could look up, we're looking at where it's gone down and we're looking at where there have been problems. You're going to create more problems. Hi, welcome to Intuition, Your Success Compass. Today, this is going to be a fun episode, at least for myself. I hope it is for you too. I was recently out with my friends Mary and Robin. Robin owns Dreaming Tree Farm in Chatham, New York. Mary is my amazing niece who also manages and has her dog business. And you may have seen an episode where we did it right at the farm. The horses were part of it, and Shivers, the dog, who caused some upset because he's like that, but he's adorable. So we put up with it. Anywho, I was there mucking stalls, which I love to do. So yeah, I also love doing the hay part. But it, admittedly, because I don't have to do it every day. Amazing what people who have these animals and commit to the time and everything that goes into it to create these businesses. But I love it. It feels very cleansing for me, not just because you move and poop, but connectivity. Ironically, I was supposed to be there today, but got a little behind on the business and the recording podcast, so had to postpone it. So I thought, this is my way of being there, even when I'm not there. But something happened. The last time I was there, we went out for a trail ride. And up until this point, I had been on the horse or a horse 4 times. And I am someone who likes to know how to do things. I like learning, but I'm realizing that I also have this part of me that if I don't know how to do it, I get a little worked up. Like I'm supposed to know how to do all these things that I have had no experience with before. I have had experience cleaning horse poop because I used to volunteer when I was a teenager to do that. Because isn't it amazing how these things come back to you? Like you forgot you did that. And later on, you're like, oh, yeah, that was a good gig. It's much more fun with Mary and Robin, though. And the other peeps at the barn, Skylar and Ellie and all the other pups. We did our chores and Robin said, we're going to go out for a trail ride. And admittedly, well, she said to me, because I had this look on my face, she's like, you look a little scared about that. I said, I'm a little scared about that. Should we let me loose out there on the back of a horse who doesn't always listen to me? I love you, Scooby Man, but we're going to try someone next time. But I also appreciated the fact that sometimes we just have to be thrown into things and then we do great, right? I'm not on board with throwing kids into the water and then having them swim. That can be traumatic. It does work. So there's something about having to show up in whatever's going on and just roll with it. And I happen to be really good at that. I'm really good at emergencies. Things come to me easily. So on one level, it was brilliant for her to say, no, we're just doing this. And I want to be clear that the horse that I was going out, there was never an issue. Scooby is solid as a rock. He might not always listen to my legs when I ask him to go, but he's solid. And I trusted. I was with Mary and Skylar and Robin. The ponies that we were going out on, all of them are lovely. And then I kept telling myself, Vicki, people go on trail rides when they've never sat on a horse before. And I'm like, so we're good to go. And I had to have a conversation, even going over the little wooden bridge, which wasn't very wide, with myself to say, will you trust your horse? Like he knows how to walk around pastures and things and be in the woods. This horse competes, okay? We're not talking about green, like a brand new pony or anything like that. This horse competes in dressage and in cross country and stuff. I could have just been up there and been an empty shell and he would have fine. all of this is the reason I decided I was going to talk about it, not only because I miss them, but because there are so many metaphors that were coming to me on this very short trail ride because Carrick decided he was going to be a little bit of a jerk. So we turned around. It was perfect. I thanked Carrick. I said, thanks for watching out for me because I think the 2-mile trail ride, turn around, come back, perfect opening. But there were so many metaphors and we were laughing about it because I was saying to Mary, there are a lot of metaphors flying through my head right now about how riding a horse or being around horses translates to life. And this also explains why when you meet people who have been around horses their whole lives, except for the pretentious, what's, they're capable. They're very capable people and grounded and amazing. So I'm actually reading a book right now called The Truth About Horses. And I'm this close to finishing it. I'm probably going to cry that I'm almost done. Wonderful, brilliant book that is just a lovely read. Actually saw it in a window when we were away for the weekend and popped in and bought it. I don't usually buy full price books, but felt compelled, and not because of the horses, but the story on the back, but the horses within the book affirmed this. And then I almost finished it last night, but I saved it a little bit for today. And then I thought, I'm going to do that podcast about the metaphor of what I've learned. So the part that got me thinking about the metaphors as we're going out, we were going to be going up some inclines, down some, not huge, but in my brain, they were huge. And I also have that thing. I don't know what the name of it is, but when you're walking along and say you go out on like a levee or something, and you know how they have in the breaks at the ocean and they build the man-made breaks and they have these humongous boulders, but they have little cracks in them. Do not ask me to jump those cracks. I want to. From the neck down, I want to. My brain, my legs can do it. I can jump it. Like there's no reason to not do it. Can't do it. You need me to climb a ladder and be up high? I can do that as soon as I'm on solid footing. So it's not the height, it's having nothing on the side and the opening. So as we're heading out, I thought, we're going to be going up and down things that on footing would give me a little bit of consternation. And now I'm 6 feet up in the air on this dude. So as we're going, Robin's explaining and Mary is reinforcing to me because she had my back. She was literally on my backside to help me navigate on her horse, Clara. And as we're going up an incline, they're like, lean back, sit on your pocket, help your horse. Or no, I'm sorry. See, I have it backwards. I need to get back on the horse. As we're going on up the incline, I have to lean into the hill, which in running boot camps and stuff that I've done, I've heard that too. But as I'm leaning in and I'm helping my horse by getting that weight off of his back, because it's a weight, I'm off of his back and I'm leaning into the incline. At first, the metaphor's not there, right? But then after you go on an incline, typically there's a decline. And now they're like, lean on your pockets, lean back. And also like kind of put the brakes on, help with that descent. And also so you don't go ass over a tea kettle over the neck of the horse. And that's when it hits me. There are some great metaphors here because when you're going through a challenging time, if you resist, say you were to sit back as you're going through a challenging time in your life and you're pulling back on the reins, you're going to create more of a resistance for yourself and a harder time. But if you lean in to what you're going through and maybe get up off the saddle, so get up off your arse and make some changes, or at least think about the changes, you are going to make it further on that trail and you're going to be safer. So as we're doing this, because my head likes to make connections, it likes to make sense of things because I also use them later. I mean, most of the topics that come up for this podcast are while I'm in life, while I'm experiencing And I think that most of us learn experientially, and we definitely learn what to do and not do from our previous experiences. And you know what else I've learned from previous experience? To stick with a product that works. So pay attention to this next message because it's a good one. And like I've said in many times, I need to learn from my experiences. I'm a very experiential learner. I used Magic Mind. I left Magic Mind. I'm back with Magic Mind. So here's some information that could help you too. Well, hey there, wonderful listeners. As I said, I have a product that I have been using, and full transparency, used for a little bit, stopped using, and went back to using because the focus issue at this point in my life with, energy, distraction in the world, but also menopause. Menopause brain is real, my friends. I have gone back to using Magic Mind. And as part of my path of self-awareness, personal growth, I believe that it's important to connect with the product that aligns with you, that feels good. And I have always said I would only recommend those things that I know work, that come from a company with integrity, and that are sustainable and all of that. It's just important to me. So, what is Magic Mind? Magic Mind is an elixir, magic elixir, if you will, that helps you focus, gives you energy without the jittery of caffeine. It does have a little bit of caffeine in it, which I love. And as much as I love my coffee, it can only do so much. I've actually never gotten the boost from coffee that some people do. So Magic Mind has become one of my best friends. I take it midday because I do the intermittent fasting. So I'm not going to do the calories in the morning. But you know that iced coffee that hits about 1:30, 2 o'clock? I take it alongside with that, and it tastes really good. After using it for just a few days, I noticed that my intentionality was back, right? Like my ability to be productive and to connect with my frequency and to keep it high. It doesn't disrupt my sleep or anything like that, even if I take it in the afternoon. And it's all natural ingredients. It's loaded with top quality ingredients like matcha for that extended release caffeine, bacopa monieri, I hope I say that right. And that's the attention and the memory part that I really felt was missing in my own experience, in my own wiring. The ashwagandha helps to reduce stress and anxiety. And there's just enhanced mental clarity. I feel like I want everyone to be taking this and to create the success and the functionality in your life that is possible when you have good nutrients in your body. So I highly recommend it. And yes, I do, as a matter of fact, have a code for you to get 20% off. And it's Vicki B20, VICKIB20. You will go to www.magicmind.com/Vicki B, or click on the link within the show notes. Thanks. So as we're going through this and we're navigating a few more, I'm like, oh, all right. This starts to feel more natural, to which my point of Robin being brilliant of just throwing me in there was so much to pay attention to. If you've ever ridden a horse, I don't know if you've ever taken lessons. Holy macaroni, is there a lot to learn? So you have to keep your head up. This is one of the things that I've had a difficult time in the ring because I'm paying attention to the jumps that may be there, the bucket that may be there. Well, maybe the horse people can explain this, but it makes me giggle a little bit that there's a connection between my eyeballs and my butt cheeks. Because if I'm looking down and my body shifts, that horse knows it. And it starts to look and it thinks I want to go there. And that's not where I want to go. But that's the thing that's making me nervous. It's another metaphor. You're paying attention to the thing that's making you nervous. That's probably not a threat. I have seen these, 1,200, 1,500 pound animals turn on a dime when there's something little that they don't want to bump into. So I know they have the agility. It's just a trust factor. But I'm focusing on the thing that could cause us to trip. Like, I'm going to be the reason this horse trips because I'm not keeping my head up, looking straight down the ring. Or in this case, I pictured a happy face on the back of Robin's helmet. And I was like, I just have to look at the back of her head because not only was she ahead of me, but sometimes she was even going up the incline herself. And that would then tell Scooby where we needed to go. Even though he knows this trail, he's a good boy. He's trying to listen to his rider. And so I'm like, there's another one. If we look down and we don't have our view up and we're paying attention to the beauty of the sky or the amazing colors of the trees, or even where life could look up, we're looking at where it's gone down and we're looking at where there have been problems. You're going to create more problems. It's just energy. And this whole process, we were maybe out there for, I don't know, half an hour. I think it took me longer to tack the horse. I know it did. To tack the horse than to actually do the ride. But I learned so much that as soon as I got in the car, I wrote all these things down. So now I'm reliving the ride, and it was kind of fun. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. I've known since I've shown up at that barn to be a part of their process. I have said to Robin, I want to be that person who can show up on any given day, tack a horse, take him for a trail ride, come back, or take them in the ring if the weather's crappy, but exercise them for you. I want to be that person because I want to ride, but I also want the connection. And I also want to be of service. But I really love this. I joke that's why I got my certification in spin and indoor cycle when I did, because I didn't want to be in charge of the whole gym. I didn't want to be a trainer, but I loved showing up for my hour classes. Yes, we went an hour. And I loved how that felt and the impact I could have and the joy that we created and the singing that we did when we were completely out of breath. But all of these things translate to the rest of your life. You're generating energy. So if your energy is looking at the shit that's happened, you're not going to be able to bring in or experience the joy that's up ahead on the trail. And as we're going up and we're navigating, Scooby's reaching out and trying to eat the trees, which meant I also had to dump. Like, I had to get flexible, which is not my greatest strength. Thoracic spine issues. I got a good spine. But I had to dump because I was going to get whacked in the head by these branches. And these eyes have had LASIK. I'm not screwing that up. But it was another metaphor, right? Like, I could get smacked in the head by this thing that's coming at me, or I can learn to be flexible and navigate and lean a little bit. Maybe I have to lean to the side rather than lean forward or lean back. Maybe I have to lean to the side. Maybe a conversation that someone's bringing me isn't setting well with me. I don't want to be firm because I might get smacked with something. I want to be flexible. I want to go with the motion of whatever's happening, still have some sense of navigation and even control, because there were a couple of times there where I had to pull Scooby back and I had to keep him from running into the horse in front of him, but also from diverting from the trail, whipping around and taking us back to the barn. Because at one point he really wanted to do. So the idea of being flexible in your life and not being so rigid, unwilling to learn or grow or expand, comes through the message of that elm tree, when it smacks back, is really going to hurt. And I don't know if you've ever been hit with a branch, either hiking or by and not so loving parents, but freaking things hurt. I definitely didn't want to take one to the face, and I didn't have goggles on or sunglasses. So I appreciated that process, and it was one of the things that I wrote down because working with horses, like you really have to be present and mindful about where they are because they're prey animals. I don't know if you know this. They're so big, and yet they're prey animals. Their eyes are on the side. That's how you know the difference. Eyes in the front are predators. Eyes to the side are prey. They're prey animals, and they have to live in the present moment because they might have to get away from what their brain still sees as a threat. So there may be a chipmunk that's running through the woods. And you know what? I'm with the horses on this because I have heard chipmunks when I'm out there hiking and swore it was a bear. I don't know how they make that much noise, but they stay present and it can encourage you to be mindful. And I've seen this in practice. Like before you go out, when you come back, you check their hooves, make sure nothing's stuck in there, clean it out. Be mindful of the frog. I love that it's called the frog. So I just like saying that over and over again, which is a sensitive part of their hoof. You clean it out. Well, in order to do that, you run your hand along the horse's, oh no, I'm learning the terminology. I'm going to call it a hock. I don't know if that's true. But you run them around their ankle, okay, down their leg and down their ankle. And these horses will, whoop, what comes right up, right? Because they know the drill. They know what's going to happen. I have to think it feels pretty good too, because if you ever walked around with a pebble in the bottom of your shoe, it's annoying. So there have been times where I'm overthinking and that foot is not coming up. And I'm like, what's going on here, bud? And like, I'm being nice to him. I'm like, come on, bud, we've done this before. And then I realized, he doesn't understand manipulation. Like, he doesn't understand that I'm trying to buy his cooperation. He understands me being there, feeling confident in that I know how to pick your foot. I actually enjoy that part too. I don't know what all this says about me, but if you're an analyst, go ahead, have fun with this. But so I take a deep breath, put my hand there, and boop, foot pops up. We go to cleaning. Presence. They're in the moment right where they are, which can be tricky to get them out of, especially if they take off on you. But it's also helpful that they're in the present moment because when you go get feed, they know that they're going to get some. So I'm going through this and as I'm riding on specifically on the trim ride, I could not think of anything else because quite frankly, I just wanted to be safe back at the barn. But I wanted to enjoy everything about the process too. And in that moment, I was like, will you just relax? Robin would never lead you into anything that's dangerous. Mary's got your back. You know, Skylar's 10 and rides 11. Is she 11 yet, guys? Somebody's got to give me feedback on that. And rides beautifully. And actually, at one point, doubled back on her horse and gave me a crop, which I've never used before. So I'm like, great, now I got something extra. But she knew that that would help. So they had all this support around me, which to me was like spiritual help. Like, this is an example of the spirit. You create your pod, you create your people that are looking out for you, and you be one of those people as well that are looking out. And it allows you to demonstrate, but also create trust and mutual respect. Because without a doubt, I trusted the people I was with. Makes me a little emotional because I've not always had that experience. And I'm just now realizing that how much I trusted them that I was like, let's go risk life and limb. Because, you know, your curl isn't the most graceful chick on the planet. But there's a mutual respect and trust that you also create with the animal. When I go in to clean their stalls, I always ask permission from the animal to enter. I always ask permission. I may have to move their big butt out of the way because they just want the hay and I need to get to that poop. But I don't enter without asking permission, even the ponies. Maybe especially the ponies. There's a lot of spunk in those little tiny bodies. But you develop a respect and a strength within yourself too. Because there are times where I've been in with almost all the horses. There's a couple new ones. And there are times where I'm like, no, I am not going in that stall today because whatever's going on with me, but it's also whatever's going on with the horse. And I respect that horse enough to send in one of the professionals. Like, I respect you might be feeling unsettled today. You need one of them. And then I'll go clean somebody else's thing or go stuff hay bags or something. There's a mutual respect that I feel like when you recognize that in any sentient being other than humans, you can bring that to humanity, but you can bring to your fellow beings and you can have a trust and mutual respect until they show you otherwise. They show me otherwise, and talking about humans, then I do not need to be anywhere near them. But until you do, I trust and I respect you. That's why I've said I've never met a stranger. And often when we go places, people are like, do I know you? And it's because I go in with, I will respect you until my spidey senses or our experiences show me otherwise. So part of my message here is look for the experiences around you. Like we could say this was just Vicki taking a lesson and expanding her horsemanship, which I want to do. But this experience of getting to know that is reflecting back to me. And I know it's because I'm present and I look for these things. However, it's reflecting back to me characteristics within myself that I've been underappreciating, like empowerment. There are many times in my life I have walked into incredibly dangerous, but also emotionally scary and had to walk through some experiences that, don't share, that I had to have an incredible sense of self to be present. And when you're working with beings who could clock you and do some real damage, they might not mean to, but they could. Some of them might mean to. There's a sense of empowerment because when you're working with them, if you're meek and you're mild and you're like, oh, sorry. And I learned this early on because I'm treating them like, I treat a puppy or something. They're not going to respect because they have learned mutual respect before. So there's a sense of empowerment that goes with this. And I see this in the students that work with the horses too. One of the horses he can be bouncy, we'll say. He's still got stallion behavior in a gelding. And they've told me this from the very beginning. And yet, dwarf his little face. There was a 10 or 11-year-old gal that walked in, hooked him all up, sent him out, went to practice. And I'm looking at him going, okay, sir, I see. I see what has to happen. And that empowerment's in her, though. And it may not show up in every situation in her life, but it's there. So it's one of the things that I am appreciative to not only be able to witness, but to experience myself. One of the greatest gifts this has given me has been not only something to look forward to every week, but a release of stress. Like they're very tactile and brushing them. And I just think they smell so good too. That's not everybody's, but the time spent with them and taking care of them, and they're not asking anything in return. Okay, they do like the mints and they do like the smushy on the nose. These horses anyway. But it's a release of stress because I'm listening to something that interests me and that I want to learn and where I can give back. But I'm also receiving way more than I'm giving, hands down. So I wonder if there's a place in your life or an event or a hobby or an interest, craft, fitness goal, anything that you want to record an album, that the process could be the release of stress. Because even though I talk about being up there and it's kind of scary at first, there's such a release of built up tension because you can't necessarily have it with them because they'll pick up on. So it's like, okay, I might not be able to do this for myself, but I can definitely do it for them. So is there somewhere in your life that, or something, some experience in your life that would help you release the stress? Maybe it's getting lost in a good book and giving yourself the time, the permission to do that. If you're scrolling on your phone, you have time to read, you have time to invest in learning a skill or a craft or exploring a new way of eating, joining a dance crew, even a mastermind, if that would feel like lights you up. Because one of the things that I have also found is that the horses respond to confident leadership. Like when I was talking about lifting the foot, you're not going to move a 1,200-pound animal's leg. Like, you're not going to. But if you have confidence in your skill set and leading them, it translates to healthy boundaries with other people. So where is it within your own life that you could learn a skill, feel lit up, be excited about the process, be a student? It's so exciting to be a student because it will help you to feel empowered, respectful of self, confident, self-surety in whatever it is. It doesn't have to be horses, cows, long puppies. It doesn't have to be. But we do have to have something in our lives that's not about work. That's not about what's my life purpose. Your life purpose is to have joy. It's to experience this world with joy. That's your life purpose. Everybody has the same life purpose, self-acceptance and joy. The path there is what you get to decide. You get to choose if you're participating in a way that is enhancing your experience here. So where's your confident leadership of yourself? Where are you confidently leading you to much more uplifting experiences and joyful connection and communication? And where is it that you're having patience with yourself? Because one of the other things is horses can be challenging. My lovely Scooby, I have said, what am I doing wrong? I was taking all the blame for him not being able to maintain a canter or not listening to me. It's really well with the rein stuff. It's the legs things that I'm like, this is me. I'm doing something wrong. Both Mary and Robin have said, nope, I'm watching your legs. You're doing exactly what we asked. He doesn't want to listen. And part of me loves that he has the choice to say, no, not today. And part of me gets frustrating. So I'm like, okay, this is where I have patience. So when we connect and we have that flow that's really necessary, because when you're working with a horse, it's like the human wants to be in control and the horse wants to be in control. At some point, there's a relaxation where it melds and there's no control needed. It's a dance. It's an interaction. It's a joyful exchange of energy. And what is that going to take? It's going to take patience and persistence, perseverance, humor, all the things that are required in our own journey. It just so happens that this is coming through these beautiful beings who I believe to be very highly evolved. I love that they talk to me. I love that I can have the communications. And I also love that that's not available when I'm on horseback, because if I depend solely on my intuition when I'm on horseback, I'm not present to what's going on physically. It's such a gift. It's such a gift to be able to also turn that off and listen to a different part of my intuition, tapping into the animal rather than for outcome, rather than for seeing somebody's process or my own process. It's being in the moment, like patience and persistence and being in the moment. That's what we require in our lives. So mine has come through other experiences, but most especially through the ones I'm living in this moment of being present, of learning how to work in the equine world, understanding, I know decades and decades it will take to learn all of this stuff, but that's exciting to me too, because that requires adaptability. Everybody's different. Every horse is different. There are some characteristics, there are some systems that you do. There are a lot of procedures that go on in a barn that are very comforting to me, to know that this is the rule. You have to do this. You have to leave their halter and lead on their door. You can't put a hay bale in front of their door, because if there's a fire, they have to be able to open the door. Even where's the rag to wipe out the water bucket before you refill the water bucket, so they're in there. How you scoop out a stall, all of it. And I'm sure every barn does it a little bit differently. And that's the why can't I say that word? Adaptability that is required in life too. So I'd love for you to take some quiet time, incorporate my lessons and what I'm learning and my sharing, and think about it in your own life, how you could bring this joy and the messages that are everywhere into your present life. And what's your experience? Email me or message on social media. What's your experience? What's taught you the most about life? What experience, what hobby, what travel, what relationships? Where have you learned mutual respect, communication, patience and persistence, authenticity, empowerment? What else did I say? Release of stress. Where have you learned? Collaboration, releasing control. What's been your greatest teacher for that? Because that is something that you could express gratitude and appreciation for too. And then I hope you be present too. So thank you very much. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of Intuition, Your Success Compass. I appreciate you being here. If you would like more information about developing your intuitive skills, removing those blocks, and creating the life that feels the most successful to you, then head on over to vickibaird.com. That's VICKIBAIRD.com, and check out the courses, the groups, and the Spaces app that will allow you to be part of our community and know about upcoming events and specials. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.